The silence in the plush, windowless waiting room was louder than any applause. Outside, London hurried along its business, unaware that the world inside this quiet corner had just stopped spinning on its axis. Ruth sat bolt upright, hands tightly clasped, staring at the empty leather chair where the doctor had been minutes before. "Well," Eamonn said finally, his voice raspy, a forced, familiar attempt at dry northern humor. "That's one way to spend a Tuesday afternoon." Ruth didn't move. She couldn't. The word, heavy and unforgiving, was still echoing in the pristine air. Cancer. Prostate cancer. Treatable, early stage, yes, but the qualifier didn't matter. It was a word that demanded immediate, fundamental change, a word that redefined every morning and every shared cup of tea. It was a threat to the comfortable, boisterous, dependable world they had built, live on air and in private, over 30 years. In the car journey home, the city lights blurred into streaks of liquid color. Ruth kept her gaze fixed on Eamonn's profile. He was calm, focused on the road, the picture of the stoic man who had anchored her life and millions of viewers' mornings. She saw the familiar furrow in his brow, but beneath the practiced calm, she could sense the terrifying stillness of a man facing the unknown. She felt an overwhelming surge of love, fierce and defensive, and yet she couldn't speak, afraid that the wrong word would dissolve the fragile control holding them both together. They arrived back at their home, a place usually filled with the happy chaos of scripts, dog leads, and ringing phones. The house felt cavernous now. Ruth walked straight into their shared dressing room, the vibrant colors of her television wardrobe stark against the gravity of the day. A sequined dress caught the light, a relic from a world that felt impossibly frivolous now. It was here, alone, that the wall finally broke. Ruth leaned against the rack of clothes, the crisp, clean scent of starch and fabric softener suddenly overwhelming. The tears came, silent and scalding at first, then escalating into uncontrolled, shaking sobs. It wasn't just the fear of loss, it was the injustice of it all. The sheer cruelty of watching the person you love, the person who made you laugh every single day, become vulnerable, targetable. She cried for the future she had taken for granted, for the small aches Eamonn had ignored, and for the way the doctor had used the word journey. "Oh, darling, come on." Eamonn was suddenly behind her, his arms wrapped around her tightly, pulling her back against his chest. For once the roles were reversed. She was the one dissolving, and he was the rock. He held her close as she crumpled into him, burying her face in the expensive wool of his travel jacket. The tears soaked the fabric, and she gripped his shirt, holding on to the undeniable reality of his solid presence. He didn't try to stop her tears, didn't tell her to be brave or think positive. He simply let her break, whispering into her hair, "It's all right, my Ruth. It's all right. We're here. We've got this." And in that raw, terrifying moment, amidst the glittering ghosts of their public lives, Ruth found a strange, fierce strength in the absolute bottom of her despair. She pulled back, her eyes red, her breathing ragged, but a new, steel resolve setting her jaw. She looked up at him, her anchor, and saw not a patient, but her partner. "Right," she whispered, wiping her face with the back of her hand, the movement decisive. "What do we need to know? What's the plan? We'll take notes. We'll ask questions. We fight this. Together." The world hadn't stopped spinning, it had merely slowed, forcing them to hold on tighter. And as Ruth saw the flicker of relief and gratitude in Eamonn's eyes, she knew that this journey, however hard, would be walked side by side, as it always had been.